Hello, people. Very good to all of you. So, guys, we started with a brand new topic in the last class, which is accounting for bills of exchange. So, guys, we learned in the last class the meaning of bills of exchange and the promissory note. Also, we tried to understand how do we calculate the due date for bills of exchange and the promissory note. And we understood how do we do the accounting entries for 4 cases, which is how do we do accounting if a bill is retained by the seller till the date of maturity. We also learned accounting treatment for the bill which is discounted with bank. We also learned accounting treatment of a bill endorsed to a third party. And finally, we learned the accounting entry for bills that is sent for collection. Right? So today, guys, we are going to understand how do we pass the accounting entry in case of dishonorment of bill in all the 4 above cases. So here we go with the first question. Guys, dishonor of a bill means non-payment by the acceptor. The person is accepting to pay the money. That is the customer. That is the buyer. Does not honor the bill on time. Does not make the payment on time. That is called as dishonor of bill. Dishonor of bill means a situation when the acceptor of bill does not pay the amount. Example, because of insolvency is one example. This could be any other reason also. Example is insolvency. Holder of the bill can recover the amount from the drawer or any of the previous endorsers. This you will understand when I start doing the practical questions. The holder of the bill may present the bill through a notary public and get the dishonor of a bill noted. Now, let me do one practical question. Then this will make sense. Let's go to illustration 8. Okay. It says that Amar sold goods for rupees 50,000 to Bhaskar on 1st Jan 2021. And on the same day, he drew a bill on Bhaskar at 3 months for the amount. So guys, what is the term of the bill? 3 months. Have they mentioned it whether it is after date, after site, at site? Nothing is mentioned. So it is always after date. The bill is duly accepted, but dishonored on the due date, which means the payment did not happen as promised on the due date. Amar pays 1,000 as noting charges. Now, what is noting charges? So there's a beautiful explanation that has been given in your ICA material. So I would read that. Noting charges. It is necessary that the fact of dishonor, the reason for dishonor, and the causes of dishonor should be established. Should be known. If the acceptor can prove that the bill was not properly presented to him for payment, he may escape the liability. If the acceptor, that is the customer, can prove that the bill was not presented on time, was not presented properly, if he could prove that, then he can escape the liability. Liability of what? The liability of paying the noting charges. He may escape the liability. Or if there is any consequences of non-payment, that consequences also he can escape. In the bill, there could be a term that if you don't make the payment on the due date, so much of interest liability will attract. If he could prove that I am not the party at default, then he may escape the liability. Therefore, if there is a dishonor or fear of dishonor, the bill will be given to public official known as notary public. So I, as a seller, if I feel that this party may not pay me the money, I have a fear that that fellow will not honor the bill. Or if the bill is about to get dishonored, the bill will be handed over to a public official called as notary public. This official or these officials presents the bill for payment. So this fellow will go and make the presentation of bill. To whom? To the acceptor, to the customer. And if the money is received, if he's getting the money, then he will hand over the money to the original party. I have a fear that the opposite person may or may not pay the money. So because of that, I appoint a notary public. It's a government official. This fellow will be taking that bill and going, for collection purpose. And if the customer is giving the money, he will take the money and hand over to us. But if the bill is dishonored, they will note the fact of dishonor. Now the official person is going and asking for payment and he's not giving the payment. So he will ask, no, why did you not make the payment? Or why are you not making the payment? He will dig all the information. I am from government official. I'm a government official. Tell me, why are you not making the payment? So until and unless he gets a satisfactory answer, he will not move from that place. So we'll get all the information from the acceptor that why did you not make the payment? And he will make a note of it. That is called as noting. That is called as noting. But if the bill is dishonored, they will note the fact of dishonor with the reason and give the bill back to the client. Client means who here? Seller. So in the bills of exchange, notary will turn the page around and note the facts or the reasons for dishonor. He will put his sign and seal and give this document to the seller. Tomorrow, if seller goes to the court to recover the money, this document with the notary public seal will be a very big evidence. For this service, they charge a small fee called as noting charges. The amount of noting charges is recoverable from the party who is responsible for dishonor. Now, amount anybody can pay. Amount who will pay initially? The person who is having the bill, who is getting the notary done, that person will initially pay the money. But finally, who will bear the expenses? The person who is default. Here in this case, the person who is the acceptor or the customer, he is the party at default. So he has to bear the expenses. Bearing will be a different person. The person who is making the payment will be a different person. So how do we recover the money and how the accounting goes here? That is what we're going to understand. The amount of notary charges is recoverable from the party who is responsible for dishonor. Clear with this point? Now let's come back to our question. So Amar sold goods for 50,000 to Bhaskar. So can I say Amar is the seller and Bhaskar is the buyer or customer? So sales is happening on 1st January. And on the same day, he drew a bill on Bhaskar. So what is my first entry, guys? What is my first entry? First entry, can I say sale entry? On 1/1/2021. Bhaskar account debit to Amar. So we are recording the entries in the books of Amar. In the books of Amar. You have to draw the proper formatting, guys. So 1/1/2021, what is the first entry? Bhaskar account debit to sales, and amount is 50,000, 50,000. 50,000 and 50,000. Any problem in this? Second entry is, guys, on the same day, the bill has been accepted by Bhaskar. So what will happen? Bhaskar is at the moment an unsecured person. Now we have a very strong security in our hand, which is in form of bill. So we'll remove Bhaskar and in place of him, we'll put bills receivable. So to remove Bhaskar, Bhaskar is currently in debit. To remove him, I'll give a credit. To remove him, I'll give a credit. To increase an asset debit, to decrease an asset, I'll give a credit. So Bhaskar is debtor, debtor is asset. To decrease the asset, I'm giving a credit. And debit will be what? Debit will be bills receivable. Bills receivable is a new asset. To record a new asset, we'll give a debit. So bills receivable, account debit, 50,000 to Bhaskar, 50,000. Narration, can you manage, or do you want me to write narration also? Narration is manageable. Okay. Online people, can you manage with the narration?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, guys, what is happening next? The bill is duly accepted, but is dishonored on the due date. So what is the due date, guys? Please tell me. 1/1/21 plus 3 month plus 3 grace days. So January 1, February, March, April 1 plus 3 grace days will be 4/4/21. So 4/4/21, on 4/4/21, the bill is honored or dishonored? Dishonored. Guys, always remember, on the due date, whether the bill is honored or whether the bill is dishonored, the validity of the bill, the security of the bill is over, because the bill is valid only till due date. Now, guys, when the validity of that asset is over, will the asset be recorded, or will we still have the asset in our books of accounts? This bills receivable is in our books until the bill is valid. The moment the due date has been touched upon, the validity of the bill, the life of the bill is over. So now I have to close the asset. To close the asset, I'll give a credit to bills receivable. Currently, bills receivable is in debit. To close it, I have to give a credit. What will be my debit? Guys, here I have closed my secured account. I've closed my secured account. Please understand this point. Bhaskar is in debit, Bhaskar credit. So we opened the Bhaskar account, we closed the Bhaskar account. Why? Because the money was receivable through the bills of exchange. But now that bills of exchange is also closed. Bills of exchange is also closed. So this money from secured position, you have gone to unsecured position. So we have to recreate Bhaskar. We have to again reopen Bhaskar's account because we have to remember that money is yet to come from Bhaskar. So initially you closed Bhaskar's account because you thought you'll get the money as against the bills of exchange, and you close this account. Now when the security is over and that the money is also not received, now you have to reopen Bhaskar's account because you are yet to receive money from Bhaskar. So to recreate asset, I need to give a debit. So Bhaskar account debit. Now we have to understand the amount. What is happening to the amount? The bill is duly accepted but is dishonored on the due date. Amar pays 1,000 as noting charges. Who is paying money? Online people, who is paying money? Hello? Abhi,
Amar, sir.
Amar is paying. Now we learned a theory that who was supposed to bear the noting charges? The person who is defaulting. Who is defaulted the payment here?
Bhaskar.
Bhaskar is defaulted the payment. So he has to bear. But who is paying? Temporarily, Amar is paying. So Amar will pay now and later recover from Bhaskar. So now Amar is paying, guys. Paying what? Cash. Cash is asset. Debit what comes in, credit what goes out. So cash is going out. When I pay the money, asset reduces. Cash balance reduces. So I will do to cash 1,000. Bills receivable will be same 50,000. Debit 50,000 means credit also will be 50,000. It is 1,000, not 10,000, 1,000. So guys, from Bhaskar, how much money you are going to recover? 50,000 for the goods that is being sold, plus 1,000 for noting charges. Totally 51,000 rupees you will recover from Bhaskar. So Bhaskar account debit 51,000 means I am remembering to record 51,000 to be recovered from Bhaskar. What is the breakup of this 51,000? Out of this 51,000, 1,000 is towards the notary charges and 50,000 is towards the bills receivable. Now here I am putting cash here, not noting charges. Noting charges is an expense to be borne by the defaulting person who is the acceptor. So in his books of accounts, I'll record the noting charges debit. So this is the transaction on the due date. Please tell me if you have any problem. These three entries I'll record. Please tell me if you have any problems. Sale entry, bills of exchange entry, and dishonorment entry. Abhi, Ashwin, Bhumika, Kavi, Kavya, Sanjay, Shrikant. Please tell me if you're clear or not clear.
Clear, sir.
Clear, sir.
Next, we are recording books of Bhaskar. In the books of Bhaskar. Bhaskar is the person who's purchased the goods. So first entry on 1/1/2021. Purchase entry will be what? Purchase account debit to Amar account. Amar is creditor, liability. 50,000, 50,000. The moment the bill of exchange is accepted, Amar will lose its name, and in place of that, bills payable will come into picture. So on the same day, bill is accepted. So now I'll reverse Amar by giving a debit. I want to close Amar's account because the payment is going to happen through bills of exchange. That is bills payable. So two bills payable account, in place of that, I'll create for 50,000 rupees. On the maturity date, that is 4/4/2021. Now the bill has been dishonored. Now please understand, guys, here Amar account you closed because the bills payable account is open instead. On the date of maturity, guys, on the date of maturity, like how bills receivable is losing its validity, even bills payable will lose its validity, which means I need to close bills payable. Bills payable is currently in credit. To close, I need to give a debit. So bills payable account debit 50,000. To what? I need to recreate Amar's account. I need to recreate Amar's account. To Amar means I need to remember or I need to know how much to pay to Amar. So how much money will be paid to Amar, guys? We'll pay two amount. 150,000 towards the purchase value and 1,000 towards noting charges. So noting charges account debit. Noting charges account debit. We have learned very clearly that the person who is making the default, he will bear the expenses. The person who is bearing the expenses will record the expenses. Noting charges is expenses. Debit all expense and losses. Debit all expense and losses. So Amar should get 50,000 towards purchase of bill and 1,000 towards noting charges. So total 51,000 rupees we have to pay to Amar. Total 51,000 rupees we have to pay to Amar. Tell me guys, clear, not clear? Purchase entry, bills of exchange entry, dishonorment entry. Abhi, Ashwin, Bhumika, Kavi, Kavya, Sanjay, Shrikant, please respond. Any problems here, please?
Yes, sir.
Clear, sir.
Clear, sir.
One thing, please be very clear. Only if you're understanding all the questions that we have done from this textbook, only then from tomorrow when I start doing from the ICA material, you'll be able to handle those questions, because those questions are next level questions. For you to understand and do that, understanding this clearly is very, very important. Offline people clear? No problem? Okay. Now, illustration 9, guys. You can take it as homework. And all the people, those who opted for the special classes, you would have seen in that classes, I would have worked out this question already. So now in illustration 10. Illustration 10 says that Rakesh draws a bill on Bhavesh for 20,000 on 4th September 21. Rakesh draws bills on Bhavesh for 20,000. So who's the drawer? Rakesh is called as a drawer. So what are the another name for Rakesh? Rakesh is called as drawer. Then he's called as creditor. He's called as seller. He's called as maker. He's called as payee if he receives the money. If he is the receiver of money, then endorser if he is endorsing it. Issuer. Clear? And Bhavesh is drawee. Debtor. Acceptor, because in bills of exchange, accepting is must. Acceptor. Then payer, because he is the person only going to pay. So payer. Issuee. Clear with these terms? This is important from true and false perspective. So bill was for 20,000, drawn on 4th September, payable after 4 months. So the term of bill is 4 months. Rakesh discounts the bill with the bank at 12% per annum on 7th October. 7th October. So the acceptance date is different, and your the issue date is different, and the discounting date is different. So I will calculate interest 12% for the proportionate period from October onwards, not from September onwards. I will pay interest to the bank only for the period that I've enjoyed the money for. The bill was dishonored on the due date. Pass the necessary journal entries in the books of Rakesh. In the books of Rakesh, if the bank paid 300 as noting charges. Okay, we'll do entries in both the books, no problem. So this is the timeline, guys. This is the date of issue of bill, and this is the maturity date or the due date of the bill. Date of issue of the bill is 4th September 2021. 4/9/21. Please tell me, guys, 4 months plus 4 grace days. If I add, what will be the maturity date? Sorry, 3 grace days. September, so it's October, November, December, Jan. So 4th of Jan plus 3 grace days, 5, 6, 7. So 7 January 2022 is the maturity date. Now, Rakesh discounted the bill with bank on 7th October. So here on 7/10/21, bill is getting discounted. Bill discounted. So please tell me, guys, on this date, you have received money from bank. So you've enjoyed bank's money. You have enjoyed bank's money for how many months? You have enjoyed bank's money for how many months? 3 months. So interest will be calculated for 3 months. Clear with this concept? Okay. So first transaction is sales transaction, sale of good. Second transaction is acceptance of bill. Third transaction is discounting. Fourth transaction is dishonorment of bill, because on the fourth entry or the fourth stage, the money is not being received by the banker. So what will happen is what we have to understand. Rakesh draws a bill on Bhavesh, guys. So which means if you look at the information is directly from the second point. There is no information on sales. So can I say sale entry is already recorded, but date is not mentioned, so we don't know, so we are ignoring as of now. But already in the book, sale is recorded. So what is the sale entry? We are not recording. Sale entry, what I'm recording is only for knowledge. In exam, you will not record a sale entry because the starting point says that Rakesh draws a bill. In the previous question, if you see, no, there is information on purchase and sale. Jay Mumika talking to somebody. Okay. In the previous question, if you see, Amar sold goods. There is information about selling transaction. So that's why we wrote sale transaction, and that was expected. But here there is no information on purchase and sale. Directly they have started with the bills of exchange transaction. So first entry is already recorded. We have to record from the second transaction onwards. So first entry, only for your knowledge purpose I'm writing, the entry is Bhavesh account debit to sales. Bhavesh account debit to sales. 20,000. You're not supposed to write this in exam because this is not asked or expected. Now guys, bill is accepted. On which date? 4th September 2021. 4th September 21. We have to reverse Bhavesh because he's unsecured. To reverse an asset, I need to give a credit. So to Bhavesh. And in place of that, a new asset has been recorded, which is bills receivable. Next is on 7/10/21. The next transaction is on 7/10/21. We are discounting the bill with bank. When I'm discounting the bill, guys, from my hand, my asset is going out. When asset is going out, will I debit or credit asset? So bills receivable is going out, so I'll credit. So to bills receivable. Bills receivable is credited with what value? 20,000. Obviously, bills receivable debit 20 means credit will be 20. What will I debit here? What will I debit here? All in people are waiting for the response. I'm giving bill to the bank. In return, what am I getting? Money. Bank. Are you getting the full money? You will get money after minusing the interest. So how do we calculate interest? 20,000 into 12 by 100 into 3 by 12. So what is the interest value? 600. So from 20,000, you minus 600. How much you're getting from the bank? 19,400. So you're getting 19,400 from bank. Who will bear the discounting charges? Drawer or drawee? Drawer has to bear. So discounting, the person who is bearing the expenses, he'll record the expenses. So discounting charges account debit, which is 600. So out of this 20,000, we received 19,400 and balance 600 is our expenses. Any problem in this? Any problem in this? Online students, do you have any problem here?
No, sir.
No, sir.
No, sir.
Now, listen to me very carefully. On the due date, on the maturity date, what will the bank do? Bank will present the bill to the buyer. What did the buyer do? Buyer said, get lost, I'm not paying. Clear? Now, do you think that bank will run behind the buyer? Please make me the payment, please make me the payment, please make me the payment. Do you think he'll run behind? Or do you think bank will go to the court and file a case against buyer? Is it the responsibility or the headache of the bank to recover money from the buyer? He will not run behind. He is very smart. He is very clever. You know what did he do? On the day when you went to the bank for discounting, the banker will make you sign on a contract. In the contract, there will be one particular point where he'll mention that on the maturity date, when I go and present this bill to the buyer, if the buyer is not making the payment, you will give me full authority to recover this 20,000 from your bank account. From your bank account means what? From seller's bank account. He will get this point in writing. And you will sign here. Okay, I accept. So I repeat this point one more time. So when you go to the bank for getting this discounting done, before he gives you the money, he will make you sign on an agreement or a contract. In that contract, there will be a particular point telling that on the maturity date, when the bank is going to the buyer to present the bill, and if the bill is not honored, bank will not run behind the buyer. On the very same day, bank will come back to his office and he will deduct the 20,000 from your account. So on the due date, from our account, money will automatically get deducted because bank wants that 20,000 on the maturity date. May come what? He will get the 20,000 either from the buyer or the seller, but banker will get it. So now guys, the point here is the fourth entry on the due date. The due date is 7th of Jan 2022. Now please understand, Bhavesh account is already closed. Bhavesh account is already closed. Bills receivable is open. That bills receivable also got closed by discounting. Now on the date of maturity, what will happen is that banker will take money from your account. Banker will take money from your account. So from your bank account, money will go out. How much money it will go? 20,000 plus bank paid 300. So what did bank do is, when bank went to the buyer, when buyer said he's not giving the payment, immediately the bank went to the notary public. He took the notary public along and asked notary public to ask, why is he not making the payment? So bank put notary public in front, and now notary public is having conversation with the buyer. Tell me the reason why are you not paying? So the notary public is documented all the reason and is given this document to the bank, and bank has paid 300 rupees to whom? The notary public. Bank has paid this money, but is bank supposed to pay this money? No. It will recover from whom? It will recover from us. So from our bank account, apart from taking 20,000, he will take 300 rupees extra. So total, how much money is going out of my hand? 20,300. So 20,300 total money the banker is taking from my bank account. So what will I debit? I need to recreate Bhavesh because now I did not get money from Bhavesh till now. So I need to recreate my asset. So Bhavesh account debit. Bhavesh account debit. How much value? Full 2,300 will recover. Because this is a mistake of Bhavesh. So the person who is defaulting the payment, from him I will recover the money. So bank will recover the noting charges from Amar. Amar in return will recover money from Bhavesh. So Bhavesh 20,300. We paid this 2,300 and now we are recovering from Bhavesh. So Bhavesh account debit to bank 20,300. Any problem here, please? So this is the bills of exchange entry. This is the discounting entry. This is the dishonorment entry. Bhavesh to bank 20,300. Is the logic clear or not clear? Is this logic clear or not clear? My dear friends, online people, what do you say? Hello.
Clear.
Online people, if you keep only interacting with me, keep saying yes or no, I'll get to know that if you're understanding or not understanding. Please be interactive, please participate. Deal or no deal?
Clear, sir.
Oh, that is okay. Deal or no deal?
Deal, sir.
Super, super. Now guys, let's also record the journal entry in books of Bhavesh. So you'll get the picture of both the sides. So in the books of Bhavesh, Please tell me, guys, am I supposed to record the purchase entry? Not required, but only for your knowledge purpose, I am recording. What is the entry? Purchase account debit. Rakesh or Amar? Rakesh, oh, Amar, last question. Oh, sorry. That time I told bank will recover from Amar and Amar will recover from Bhavesh, I said. So bank will recover from Rakesh, Rakesh will recover from Bhavesh. All rhyming words only, you know, Rakesh, Bhavesh. Okay, so 20,000 amount is correct? Yeah, 20,000. This entry is not required. Okay, the next entry is happening on 1 September, is it? 4th September 2021, correct? What is the entry? I need to reverse Rakesh because a bill of exchange has been executed. So I need to reverse a creditor by giving a debit. So Rakesh account debit to what? To bills payable. Wonderful. Wonderful. Very good. 20,000, 20,000. So first transaction recorded, purchase entry. Second transaction, acceptance entry recorded. Third transaction, guys, discounting transaction is happening between whom and whom? It is happening between Rakesh and bank. Will Bhavesh record this? He is not even concerned with that. So the fourth transaction is happening between whom? Buyer and the bank. So that we will record. So that is on the date of maturity. 7/1/22. What happens, guys? Please understand very carefully. Rakesh account debit, Rakesh account credit gone. Okay, Rakesh account is closed. But here on the date of maturity, the bills payable is lost its validity. So I need to reverse this bills payable. When I reverse a liability, I need to create a unsecured liability because the money is still not paid, boss. The money is yet to be paid. So first I will reverse this bills payable liability. So debit will be what? Bills payable is currently in credit. To close the bill payable, I need to give a debit. Now I need to make payment to whom? Rakesh. Now will you pay only 20,000 to Rakesh? Because Rakesh will say that, boss, because of your mistake, I have paid 300 rupees to bank and bank has paid that to notary public. Therefore, you have to pay me now 20,300. So from Rakesh will recover 2,300. So in debit, 300 is nothing but noting charges. Account debit. The person who is at default, he will record the noting charges. He will bear the noting charges. That's all, guys. Only 3 entries. That's all. Now clear, online people?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Sorry? Somebody called me or somebody's talking to me? No. Yes, can I go forward to the next question? So far, we have seen that what happens if the dishonorment is happening in the case 1. Case 1 is what? When bill is held till maturity. So we saw dishonorment accounting entry. And we also saw if the bill is discounted with bank on the maturity date, if it is dishonored, what is the entry? So for 2 cases, you have seen the dishonorment entry. Now let's see the third case. When endorsee is the holder of the bill. Okay, which means that on 1st Jan 2021, A drew a bill on B. So A is the drawer, B is the drawee. For 5,000 payable after 3 months. So 3 months is the term of the bill, which is after date. B accepted the bill and returned it to A. B accepted the bill and returned it to A. After 10 days, A endorsed the bill to his creditor C. On the due date, bill was dishonored and C paid 100 rupees as noting charges. Record the transaction book of A, B, and C. Is the question clear to all of you? If you want to read it one more time, then I'll go forward and do the question. Please, Aram se read the question, understand the question, put all the points in your memory, and then we'll do the answer. Done? Okay. So first thing is seller has sold the goods. or buyer has purchased goods from seller. Second is the bill of exchange is being accepted. Third, what is happening is the bill is being endorsed. Fourth, on the maturity date, the bill is being dishonored. So total 4 transactions. Total 4 transactions. Okay. First, we are recording in books of seller. Seller, the first transaction is happening between seller and buyer. So here it is A, B, C. So between A and B, first transaction is sale and purchase transaction. So in books of A, in the books of A. Guys, when you're writing this in exam, you need to write proper formatting like journal format, date column, particulars column, LF. What is that? LF column, debit, credit, rupees, all is important. Okay. So on 1st Jan, 8 ruble, which means there is no entry for sale, guys. We don't have to record any entry for sale or purchase. Directly the bill entry we can record. So on 1/1/21, we are cancelling the debtor. So for A, B is the debtor. So I'm cancelling B. So what will be in B? B will be credited. Debit will be what? Bills receivable. Bills receivable account debit to B's account, and the amount is 5,000. After 10 days. After 10 days means how many? Which day? 11th day. 1 plus 10 days. So on 11th Jan 2021, this bill, which is under your custody as your asset, you are transferring to somebody else, which means your asset is going out of your hand. Credit what goes out. So 2, bills receivable 5,000, which means, guys, this is like a payment. If I make the payment in cash, cash is going out. If I make the payment in check, so money from bank is going out. So like that, this money is going out. This is the mode of payment. Bills of exchange is mode of payment. And this payment is against your liability. So who is your liability? C is your liability. To close the liability, I need to give a debit. So C is account debit 5,000. C account debit 5,000. To B bills receivable 5,000. Any problem? So Amar is recording this transaction. Sorry, A is recording this transaction because this third transaction is happening between creditor and the seller. Next, on the due date. On the due date, the bill is being dishonored. So dishonorment, guys, though it is happening between the creditor and buyer. Now please understand, creditor is going to the buyer. Buyer is not making the payment. So creditor will run, cry and come to whom? He'll come back to A. So after the 4th transaction, the 5th transaction is happening where creditor is coming and crying. Creditor is throwing that bill of exchange on face of A and telling that keep this bill with you. This is useless. I did not get my money. Give me my money. So this is the 5th transaction. So 4th transaction is dishonorable entry. So this is a fighting happening between the creditor and the buyer. After that, creditor cries like Amul baby and comes to whom? To the seller. So now what will happen, guys? On the due date, the 4th entry and the 5th entry both are happening on due date. 4th and the 5th entry on the due date. So what is the due date? 1st Jan is the date of issue of bill plus 3 months. So Jan means Feb, March, April. 1st of April plus 3 grace days is 4th of April. 4th of April. So on 4th of April, 4/1/4/4/21. Now C is coming back crying. Did any noting charges been paid? Yes. C has paid 100 rupees as noting charges. So C will recover this money from whom? From A. So C is coming to A, which means now A has to remember to pay to C. So we will recreate the liability. We'll recreate C's creditor account. So I'll create the liability to C's account. How much? 5,100. What will be debit? We need to see this 5,100 I need to pay to creditor is correct. But I also need to receive the money, no? So when C is coming crying to A will go crying to whom? B. So again, I need to recreate B's account. So B's account, debit 5,100. Please understand, Had I put a sale entry here, the sale entry would have been B's account debit to sale. But this B's account got closed when a bills of exchange was issued. So B account was closed. B's account is closed. Bills receivable was opened. Then this bills receivable was closed because I transferred it to C. And that point of time, only bills receivable did not get closed. Even C got closed. Now, it so happened that because of dishonorment of entry, neither the money what I'm supposed to receive from B, I received it, nor I got the money from, nor I paid money to C. Neither I got money from B, nor I paid money to C. So I need to recreate both. So B is my debtor, C is my creditor. So B is the recreation of debtor. C is the recreation of creditor. It looks like you will understand now very easily, but when you do all the questions put together now, that time you will have a problem. So by hearting this is not a solution. You have to understand what is happening. If the situation is clear, if the explanation is clear, if the understanding is clear, then you will not have any problem in doing this accounting entry. Depending on the situation, the entry will keep on changing. Are you able to understand what is happening? On the due date, we have to recreate both the people, because the amount what I'm supposed to receive from B, I did not receive because the bill is dishonored. Not the money that I'm supposed to pay to C, I could pay because the bill is dishonored. So in this case, both are getting recreated. Both are getting recreated. You can write it down. Debtor recreated. Creditor recreated. Now some people says that, sir, how can you say C is recreated? Sir, C in debit, C in credit, account closed. Arey boss, C is in debit, but how did C come in debit? Before that, C was in credit because of credit purchase. We had done a purchase from C. Purchase account debit to C. So that is how C became a creditor. So this C in debit, sorry, C in credit, and this C in debit got closed. So when I debited C, no, C account got closed. But since we did not make the payment to C, C's account is recreated again. Are you able to understand this point? Hello? Online people? Online people? No responses.
Yes, sir.
Any doubts, please? Don't hesitate to ask, guys. If you have any doubts, my handful request to all of you, please get it clarified then and there. Do not keep any doubts in your mind and heart. Feel absolute free to ask whatever doubts you want to ask. Do not think what other people will think. Should I ask now? Should I ask later? Doesn't matter. If you have a doubt, please ask then and there. I'll give you complete liberty. Abhi, Ashwin, Bhumika, are you clear?
Yes, sir. Clear with that.
Abhi, Ashwin, clear? Ashwin?
Yes, sir. Clear.
Okay. Kavi, Kavya, Sanjay, Shrikant, clear?
Yes, sir.
Clear, sir.
Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. Now, guys, we have completed the entry in books of A. Now the entry in books of B. In the books of B. So first entry is purchase entry. Only for knowledge purpose I'm writing. Purchase account debit to A's account. 5,000. 5,000. Okay. Then what happens is on 1/1, correct? No, 1st Jan 2021, a bill of exchange has been accepted, which means the liability, the secured liability is created. So I will reverse the unsecured liability. A is currently unsecured liability in credit. To reverse, I'll give a debit. So A's account debit to Saraswati, you lost. To bills payable account 5,000, 5,000. Then what is happening, guys? This entry done, this entry done. The third transaction is happening between whom? Seller and the endorsee. That is B, A and C. Will B record this transaction? No. Then creditor goes to buyer for collecting the money. Is he getting the money? No. So the bill is getting dishonored. So what happens on the maturity date? 4/4/21. Now A is already closed. So we have to recreate A because on 4/4/21, bill payable loses its validity. Therefore, I need to recreate A. So to recreate A is what? Creditor for B. So I need to recreate the creditor by giving a credit to A's account 5,000. And debit what? This bill payable I need to close because the validity is over. So bills payable account debit. How much? 5,000. Is this correct? Because A will not only take 5,000 from B, it will also take 100 rupees. Why? Because C had paid 100 rupees to the notary public. C will recover this 100 rupees from whom? A. Will A bear this notary charges? No, because the defaulting person is B. Therefore, A will recover this money from B. So ultimately, who's the person who's paying the money? B. So noting charges, account debit 100. So to A, we have to pay total 5,100. 5,000 for purchase value, 100 rupees for noting charges. So this is the entry that you will record. These are the only two entries that you will record. Okay, not okay. B's book, this one entry, this one entry. Tell me people, okay, not okay. Offline people all are comfortable. Online people? Online people?
Okay, sir.
Wonderful. Next, we have to record the transaction in C's books of account. In the books of C. So guys, what will I record here? Will I record any purchase entry? This C will not record. This C will not record, but C will record this endorsement entry. See guys, from C's point of view, the seller is debtor or creditor? From C's point of view, from creditor has sold goods to the seller. That is A. C has sold goods to A. From C's point of view, A is debtor. Now A has given the payment to C. A has purchased goods from C. Payment mode is bill of exchange. Correct? It's not cash. So C is receiving bills. So debit what comes in? So bills receivable account debit. And when money is coming, we'll close the data. So to A's account. How much? 5,000, 5,000. On which date? 11 January 2021. Okay. Then what happens is on the due date, creditor is going to the buyer. Buyer says, get lost. So now he's crying and coming back to whom? A. So now on the date of maturity, which is 4 April 21, this bills receivable is lost its validity. So I need to close the bills receivable, which is currently in debit, by giving a credit. So to bills receivable, 5,000 rupees, I'll give a credit. Debit will be what? I need to recreate the data because I am yet to receive the money. C is yet to receive the money. So I have to recreate the asset. I have to recreate the data. So I have to create the data by giving a debit. So A's account debit. How much? 5,000. 5,000? 5,100 because C has paid 100 rupees to notary public as notary charges in form of cash. So to cash 100. So on the maturity date, 100 rupees money is gone out. So total 5,100 rupees C will recover from A. In that 100 rupees is the cash that is paid to notary public and 5,000 is towards the bill. I cannot record the noting charges because noting charges is an expenses recorded by the party in default, which is B in our case. So B in B's book, if you remember, we have recorded already noting charges. So here, the person who's paid the money to cash, that account I'm recording. Any problem here, please? Any problem here? In C's books of account, these two entries you'll record. Any problem here? Online people are waiting for responses.
No, sir.
No, sir.
No, sir.
Now, if you see the question what we just completed, after that there are so many other types of questions which is already covered in the special class. So I'm not going again in detail. And unfortunately, we don't have a question on dishonorment for bill sent for collection. So I'm just going to only take the journal entries from this particular note that I've prepared. So what will the entry come in case of bill being discounted, bill being sent to the bank for collection and being dishonored? When the bill of exchange is sent to the bank for collection and it is being dishonored. It's very simple. From the seller's point of view, seller what entry will record? First will be the sale entry. So debtor account debit to sale. When this is on the date of sale, on the date of issue of the bill, or on the date of acceptance of the bill, or on the date of issue of the promissory note. On the date of acceptance of bill or on date of issue of promissory note, we will record the bill of exchange transaction where the debtor is closed by giving a credit, and in place of that, bills receivable is opened. Then date of sending bill to bank for collection. So what happens? From my hand, bill is going out. So two bills receivable, asset is going out. So one asset is going out, another asset I need to create because I need to remember this bill is sent to bank for collection. Correct, no? See, in the balance sheet, if I have bills receivable, it means that I have to receive this money from my customer. But this bill value, I'm not going to receive from my customer. I'm going to receive from the banker. If I put bank in debit, it will be wrong. Bank means money coming into my account. So here I have to give a different unique account name. So they have told that we'll create a new name called as bill sent for collection. So I will close this, and in place of that, bill sent for collection account needs to be opened. So that's why I created this by debiting it. So this is happening on the date when the bill is sent for collection. On the due date, what happens? Bank goes to the buyer, asks for money. Buyer says, get lost. So bank will go to the notary public, get the notary work done, and he'll pay, let's suppose, 100 rupees to the notary public. So bank will pay this 100 rupees temporarily to the notary public. In return, bank will collect this 100 rupees from seller, and seller in return will collect this 100 rupees from the buyer. So on the maturity date, what happens is that this bill sent for collection loses its validity because the bill is not honored. So on the maturity date, on the date of maturity, bill sent for collection, I need to close. The debit can be closed by giving a credit. This will be with the bill amount, whatever the bill amount is in that bill amount. And I need to recreate the debtor. So debtor is being recreated. So from debtor, how much money will you collect? From the customer, how much money will you collect? Bill amount plus noting charges. Why? Because you paid 100 rupees as noting charges. So let's suppose the money that you're supposed to collect for the bill is 50,000. So you will close the bills sent for collection 50,000. 100 rupees you would have paid to the notary. 100 rupees you will pay to the bank, and bank would have paid to notary public. So we have to recreate 50,100 as debtor. So debtor account debit 50,100. Two bills sent for collection 50,000. Two cash or bank 100. This entry will come in case if the bill is dishonored. This is in books of drawers. Now buyer, what entry will you record? Buyer, in the books of buyer, first on date of purchase, the entry is purchase account debit to creditor. Second, on date of acceptance, you will reverse the creditor. The creditor account has been reversed to bills payable. Then on the date of maturity, what happened? Bill has been dishonored. So creditor is already closed. I need to recreate the creditor. So by giving a credit. And this bills payable loses its validity, I need to close it. So bills payable account debit. And noting charges is the expense that buyer has to bear. So noting charges account debit. So let's suppose the creditor value, the bill value is 50,000. So 50,000 rupees, we have to close it. 100 rupees is noting charges. And to the creditor, that is to the seller, we have to pay 50,100. So please make a note of this. I'll share this document with all of you. Don't worry, but still this entry alone you have to note. This entry is not captured. So please make a note of this entry alone. If you know the concept, no big deal, guys. This is very easy. Online people comfortable?
Yes, sir.
Others?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So guys, we have so far understood what is the meaning of bills of exchange. Whatever I explained in the last class, the same point is mentioned here. This is the specimen of a bill of exchange. You understood what is the promissory note? Specimen of a promissory note. Now guys, wherever in your ICI study material, if you come across difference between, you have to study without missing this out. Because you can expect minimum 1 4-mark theory question from any difference. All the chapters will have some difference or the other. So they can ask you to write down difference between bills of exchange and the promissory note. Are you able to follow? So please do not ignore the theory. Take a highlighter and highlight this point, and you have to make a note that this question will come for 4 marks. For a 4-mark question, you don't have to write all the points. You can write any 4 points each. Any 4 points each you can write. Online students, am I clear with what I'm talking?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes. Next. This is the accounting entries, what we learned. They have given theoretically. Term of bill, guys. We've learned what is after side, after date, everything is given. Here it is given in scattered manner. In my notes, I've given you properly. The days of grace should be 3 days. All that has been given. In India, it is as per negotiable instrument, it is 3 days. So meaning of after date, after site, everything has been given, guys. Whatever we discussed, that has been given. How do we calculate the due date? That also has been given. Only these 2 points you have to remember. If the due date happens to be a public holiday, then the preceding business day will be the due date. And if the due date is an emergency or unforeseen holiday, like a strike, bandh, in that case, the following working day will be the due date. Noting charges I have discussed with you. The date which comes after adding 3 days to the due date, that is due date plus 3 grace days is equal to maturity date. Theoretically here also, and in our special book also, the same wording is given. But if you have observed all the question, they ask, please calculate the due date. And whenever the due date is asked, they always add 3 days and 3 grace days and give the final answer. So theoretically something else, practically you're doing something else. So whenever the due date is asked, add 3 grace days and give the maturity date. Clear with this point? Renewal of bill, retirement of bill, I'll take it tomorrow. We'll do the first question from your ICS study material. This first question has been introduced only this year. What I mean is, the first question, this was not there in the last year's textbook. Last year's textbooks, if you see, the second question was given as the first question, which directly was a question based on your renewal of bill. So that's why I was forced to do all the basic questions from the special book and then come back here. So one question will you find, sir, and that question also is kind of twisted. So unless and until you knew what we have done, this question you cannot solve it. So the first question of your ICA material, guys. So this question, this is a book, guys. This is a book where I've compiled all the questions from your ICA study material, MTP, RTP, past exam paper. So it is one stop for all the questions. So this question is from ICA study material. This is your very first question of your ICA SM. Mrs. Sujata received 2 bill from Mrs. Aruna, dated 1st January 2020 for 2 months. Mrs. Sujata receives 2 bill from Mrs. Aruna, dated 1st Jan 2020 for 2 months. Please tell me who's Sujata and who's Aruna? Who's the customer, who's the buyer? Who's the drawer, who's the drawing? Sujata receives 2 bill from Mrs. Aruna. Receives means what? Seller sends the bill to the buyer. So buyer receives the bill. Buyer accepts and gives the bill back. So seller again receives the bill. So which receiving are they talking about? Receiving is always after the acceptance. Correct? So Sujata, so look at the question. First line, googly ball. Now this doubt, it will not come to your mind when you're doing at home. Suddenly in the exam hall, your brain will be working at the 100% capacity. At that point of time, brain tongue will ask, which receiving is this or that? And you get confused. So this 100% presence of mind should be throughout your studying journey, guys. Whatever doubts you have, get it clarified here. In exam hall, there should be no scope of doubts. So Sujata is the drawer and Aruna is drawee. So the term of the bill is 2 months. Since the term of the bill clearly is not mentioned, whether it is after date or after set, it is always after date. What happened? But here they put bill, no? But that is your right. From the practical questions point of view, bills receivable and promissory note, you can treat it as one. If you come from the promissory view point, Sujata receives the bill. So who is the drawer of the bill in promissory note? Aruna. So Aruna is the drawer and Sujata is the drawing. So if drawer and drawer is getting confused, go with the seller and buyer point of view. So this is the buyer, this is the seller. Comfortable? Okay. The first bill is for 10,200 and the second bill is for 15,000. So 2 bill, guys, 2 bill. Bill 1, bill 2. The second bill was endorsed in favor of Mr. Shri on 3rd Jan 2020. And the first bill is discounted immediately with bank for 10,000. So tell me, guys, had I did this as a first question, what would have happened? Had I did this as first question, what would have happened? You don't know what is discounting. You don't know what is endorsement. Both together is even more confusing. One by one you do, it's easy. So that is why that special book is that important. Now, guys, very simple. We have to record the entries in books of Sujata. Sujata is the seller. In the books of Sujata, the first transaction is taking place on 1st Jan 2020. So 1/1/2020. Before that, let me pass a sale entry for my ease of understanding and convenience. It is not required, but still, what will be my sale entry? Can I say Aruna? Can I say Aruna? Account debit 2. Bills of exchange 1 number 2. Sorry, not bills of exchange. 2 sale. 2 sale. What is the sale value, guys? 15,000 plus 10,200, which is 25,200. 25,200. This entry is not required, only for understanding. The first entry will take place on 1/1/2020, on which date the bill of exchange is being executed and accepted. So we'll reverse the unsecured debtor by giving a credit. So to Aruna. And in place of that, 2 bills of exchange is created. So you have 2 options. One, you can write both the bills of exchange together like this. Bills receivable, like this you can write. Or you can write like this also. Bills receivable 1, bills receivable 2, account debit, account debit. First one is 10,200, second one is 15,000. So total is 25,200. Both ways you're allowed. Both ways you're allowed. And put a or, and please write this also. Bills receivable to Aruna. Please write this also. Being 2 bills receivable from Aruna received. Okay. Now, guys, the second bill was endorsed in favor of Shri on 3rd Jan 2020. So on 3rd Jan 2020, which bill was endorsed? Second bill. Second bill means this bill. So this bill is going out of my hand. So currently it is asset in my hand. The asset is going out. So will I debit or credit? Credit. Wonderful. Two bills receivable. Second bill, it is going out for 15,000 rupees. It is going to whom? It is going to Shri. Shri is my creditor. So I'm closing the creditor's account. To close my creditor, to close my liability, I need to give a debit. So Shri, account debit 15,000. Being billed endorsed to Shri. Being bill endorsed in favor of Mr. Shri. Any problem here? Online students comfortable, not comfortable? Hello? Comfortable. Okay, wonderful. And the first bill is discounted immediately with bank. Immediately with bank for 10,000 rupees. Immediately means when? On 3rd or on 1st? And the first bill is discounted immediately. Immediately. On 1st itself. So on 1/1/20, the bill is discounted. Bill 1 is being discounted. So currently it is in my hand. Now it is going to the bank. So bills, I need to close the bill. So two bills receivable, one, which is 10,200. When the bill is given to bank, in return, are you getting something? You're getting money. How much money you're getting from bank? In your bank account, the bank is putting 10,000 rupees. So what happened to the balance 200? No bank charges, discounting charges. Discounting charges. So this entry is for discounting. Being billed discounted with bank. Pass the necessary journal entries in the books of Sujata. Now, guys, will you pass the entry for the due date or the maturity date? The question is not giving any information that what has happened on the due date. Whether the bill is honored or dishonored, nothing is mentioned. In that case, we will avoid, we will stop our answer till this. Clear with this point? So with this, we come to end of the first question of your ICA study material. Any doubts, any difficulties you're facing? Online people?
No, sir.
Bhumika, you talking something?
No doubt, sir.
No doubt. Okay. Abhi, Ashwin, Kavi, comfortable?
Yes, sir.
Ashwin?
Yes, sir. Comfortable.
Okay. Kavya, Sanjay, Shrikant, comfortable?
Comfortable, sir.
Okay. So I think I'll stop the session here today. Why? Because the next new concept that we're going to study is the concept of renewal of bill and retirement of bill. So this we'll do it in tomorrow's session. And there are quite a few questions based on renewal and retirement in your even ICA study material. So tomorrow we'll focus on renewal and retirement for 2 hours. Then the next class on Saturday, we'll afresh start the concept of accommodation of bill. Right? So yes, guys, with this, I put to end of today's session. I'll see you all tomorrow morning from 11 a.m. to 1:30 p.m. Until then, bye-bye. See you. Take care.